Okay, hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of July the 24th, 2026. How good is Alita as a martial artist? Where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, Creek Indian from Denver, Colorado. And before we, kind of introduce our guest here, which Lee is more of a regular, I guess, than a guest, but I just want to kind of, bring this to light here. And I'm not going to go into any great detail here because we're going to do this tomorrow on Radio Chaos. But Smendrick Vladi and I ended up going to see last week. We went to see Rosa in the play Glenn Ross at the old Vic Theater, and she was awesome. I mean, she was just freaking magnificent. I mean, God, she is good at what she does. And it was a real treat seeing her act. And on her birthday, which was the 16th of July, we actually talked to her and had a lot of fun doing that. We got to talk to her for quite a while. Now, she kind of had I think, reservations at a restaurant or something for a birthday celebration or something like that. So we didn't get to talk to her as long as we would have liked, but it was great seeing her, and it was particularly great seeing her in the play. I mean, God, she's good at what she does. And, she's certainly our queen and is really good at her trade. All right. So anyway, that being that, I guess, now we can kind of welcome Lee. I guess I have invited some other folks, and we did have for a while Dark Star Shadow came on, but then he got called away. So he might come back later on. But anyway, we got Lee Lemon with us here, and he's from Fountain, Colorado, which is about 80 miles south of where I live near Denver. And how's it going there, Lee?
It's going pretty good.
Cool. How's things down there in Fountain?
Hot.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like 31 degrees centigrade right now.
Yeah, it's hot here. For those of you that are still, those of us who are still on the imperial measuring system, it's 92 degrees, which is, it's hot. There's no doubt about it. So, exactly. Mega Escrow, happy birthday to Rosa. We're going to wish her a belated happy birthday tomorrow on Radio Chaos. That's going to be pretty cool, I think, and talk about the play and stuff like that, because she was awesome, just really awesome. So we were so lucky to see her in that play. I mean, God, I loved it. Anyway, let me get off of that. I'll start stealing Radio Chaos's thunder if I don't do that, if I don't get off of it. So up here in Denver, it's hot. I think we're supposed to start getting some thunder showers here in the next day or two, and it's going to last for like 3 or 4 days, I think. So maybe that'll cool things down a little bit. But Colorado is, it does get hot here, but it many times usually it's a dry heat. It's not humid like down in Florida. Florida, if it was 31 degrees Celsius in Florida, then it would be unbearable because the humidity is usually like 90+%. But here in Colorado, when unless it rains, the humidity's down around 30% a lot of times. So, but anyway, we just love living in Colorado for sure. So, all right. Well, anyway, moving on, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, happy birthday to her. That's right. Exactly right there. Mega Escrow. Before we get into the topic, I guess one of the things that we need to kind of remind folks of, we got the Alita sequel petition going, and we've added 5 signatures since last week, which was really cool. It kind of got in kind of a, I wouldn't say steady state, but kind of was just moving along, not adding, it would add 1 signature, then it would lose 2 and add another one, add 1, lose 1. It kind of did that, and stayed, stagnant there for probably about 4 weeks. But here this past week, we've added 5. So that's probably due maybe to I know I've been promoting Rosa's play on my channel. Yeah, I think we've been, I think Maxie has been promoting, what we're going to be doing tomorrow on Radio Chaos. So maybe some folks saw that and decided that they wanted to sign the petition. But anyway, what you have to do is you see that link below the image on your screen. That link is down in the description. You click on it, takes you to a website. You do have to enter your name and email address, but you can specify that to be anonymous so the internet at large doesn't see your name and your email address. And if you specify anonymous, then when the list of names pops up on the right after you sign the petition, it'll just, for your instance, it'll say anonymous. But you see, we've got we're approaching 180,000 signatures, and this is our way of reminding Disney that we want that sequel. And as I like to say, we want that sequel, damn it. As a matter of fact, we want more than a sequel, don't we, Lee? We want 8 sequels.
Yep.
Exactly what I want, and I know Lee wants it. Actually, Lee, I think you started that 8 sequel thing.
I might have, yeah. I wanted a trilogy of trilogies.
That's exactly right. So, and Lord knows they got enough content, in Battle Angel Alita, the manga,
Easily, yeah.
Easily, they could make 8 sequels. Now, are we expecting too much? Well, maybe, but hey, we love this character. We love, we love the IP. We certainly, love our queen. We want her to, play in as many movies, as she can handle, as terms of being Alita, and get those residuals coming in, I guess, So if you haven't signed the petition, please do so. We'll keep, as John Landau said, we want to keep pinging Disney, or I think that's what he said, is something to that effect anyway. Peppering them, I think, is what he actually said. So, just the neat thing about the petition is when the Snyder Cut folks, when they did a petition, and when it reached 170,000, they got their Snyder Cut version of the Justice League. So, we're way above that. And I don't know what the Snyder Cut petition is now. It might just be, stagnant since they've already got it. But we passed 170,000 some time ago. So, hey, let's just stay after Disney. We're not going to give up. I'm going to continue to, to just, I just want to continue to push, and promote Alita and support our queen and stuff like that. And we do have Rosa's Queen Studios bust of Alita. I think when I talked to her at the Pasadena Playhouse, now this is back in 2024, I told her we had this for her, and the first time I saw her, and we chatted for quite a while, and then when I went to see her again, she did tell me she told me she wanted it, and then of course I as diplomatically as I could, I reminded her when I guess when we were at the play, I reminded her that we still had the bus, and she acknowledged. She said, "Oh yeah, stuff like that, And we really want her to have this. This is our expression, of our affection, appreciation, and admiration for our queen. Because she did a great job. We were really fortunate that they picked Rosa to play or portray Alita in the movie, and we're glad Robert Rodriguez did that. And for us, this is not a gift. For us, this is an award from the Alita Army. Like I said, it's an expression of our admiration, appreciation, and affection for Rosa, because she's great. And I will tell you this too, if you ever get a chance to go see Rosa in a play, because she has been doing plays now for the past, say, 2 to 3, about 2 years, I guess. By all means do it. I mean, it is a treat. You will not regret going to see her in a play, because she is really good at what she does. And, that's, anyway, I'll get off of that. Sorry about that. So anyway, We do have the Alita Gaming Network going on as well. Last I checked, I think we still had 57 members. We don't really push this too hard because I think the members kind of like keeping this small because it's real more intimate that way. Yeah, you can do a lot of things on this network. There you see the link below our Chibi Alita mascot right there in the middle. That link is down in the description. You click on it. And if you have a Discord account, then of course you get the invite for the network, and you accept the invite, and a lot of people will put those little animated GIFs that welcome you to the network and stuff like that. If you don't have a Discord account, then you can basically join up. Now, if you're concerned about I don't want to shuck out any more money for doing stuff on the internet, well, there is a free service on this, and it is good. It's not it's not real limited. You can do a lot of stuff on it. As a matter of fact, I have a free account on here, and I'm able to do the system administration on it without any trouble. But anyway, if you do live streams as an example, you can put those links in the live streams channel. I know Maxie puts the live streams for Radio Chaos in there. From time to time, I will put the link to this live stream in the live streams channel. I didn't do it this week, but I have done it in the past several times. I know Chaos Nova, when he does a stream, now he doesn't do as many streams as we do in terms of Radio Chaos or our Alita live stream here, but he does do live streams from time to time, and he puts his link in there. And if you do those live streams, you do not have to ask my permission to put your link in there. You can just do that with any time you want. You need to schedule it or anything like that. If you do fan fiction, like Lee and Maxie and Dark Star Shadow, they have like novel length fanfics, that you can really read a lot of stories about Alita. Now, granted, it's not canon, but it's still stories about Alita, and it's a character we love, and you want to see that kind of a new story, then, that's a good place to go. I know Panini Freak has got a short in there. Channel Does Not Exist has several shorts in there, and even I have a short in there, in the my short's more of a video, but it does have kind of a thing you can read along, type deal with it, so just more content, more stories about Alita that you can get into, I guess. If you do artwork or videos, you can put that in the user creations channel. Either you can upload the actual content, or you can put a link in there. If, for instance, if you do YouTube videos, then you can put a link to the YouTube video there in the user creations channel. We do have an off-topic channel, and if you want to put some content in there that's not Alita related, you can do that. Now, I do kind of watch that. I don't want anything politics involving that. Oh, look who's here. From Brisbane in Queensland, Australia, we have Angelli. How's it going, Angelli?
It's been pretty soft and bouncy.
Oh, really? Well, what's happening down under
the
this?
Angelli.
Oh, being Angelli. Yeah, I was about to say what was so awesome down there in Australia. So anyway, if you do that, any kind of artwork or videos, you can put that in there, as I said. Now, the off-topic channel, certainly you can put, general information in there, but I do watch it. I don't want any kind of information in there that is, that's basically, supports any kind of politician or candidate or.
And especially no cryptocurrency ads.
Yes, as a matter of fact, good point, Angelus. There was, I guess, at one point, this is a couple of months ago, I think, or maybe 3 months ago, somebody put a promo in several of the channels, that was promoting crypto, and I deleted all that shit out of there, because that's personally, I don't like crypto. I don't have any investments in it, and it's. Well, I'm not going to get into that. So anyway, we do have 3 voice channels, as you can see there on the left. If you're familiar with the services like GoToMeeting or let's say Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Meet or Citrix or something like that. That's basically what that is. I mean, you can get into those channels, and once again, you do not need my permission to do this. You just get in there, and other people in the network you can invite, or they'll see you in there. But those channels are not streamed, and those channels are not accessible by the internet at large. Only the people in the Alita Gaming Network can see what's going on in those channels, and certainly you can invite people and that sort of thing, and just chat, just like you would on a Zoom call, you know, and you can share your screen and talk with others and just have a good time with that. We do have a watch party channel as well, and it's kind of similar to the voice channels. Except we've kind of delegated or kind of designated rather that to be just for watch parties. The watch party text channel is kind of like where you would do a little bit of the, I guess, promotion if you want to do a watch party. Now, I've done several watch parties. I think we've watched Alita Battle Angel like 3 or 4 times. We've watched several of Rose's stuff. I mean, we've watched Chariot. We've watched Chips. We've watched her Star Trek short, and we even watched that short that she did called Good Crazy. We watched that. As a matter of fact, at the last, I guess we watched before Smendrick and Vladi and I went to London. Well, Vladi lives near London, but before we made that trek to see our queen in the play, we did watch the movie Glengarry Glen Ross in that channel. And, you know, we had fun doing that. So, you know, you just kind of get in there and, you know, just watch whatever you want to watch. Now, one of the things is you don't have to wait for me to do a watch party. If you want to do a watch party, you can do it. You don't even need my permission. You just get in there. You can invite other people and, you know, just do the watch party, you know, and right there in that channel. You know, you can do it impromptu. You don't need to schedule it. Now, usually you'll get better results with people coming to watch it if you know, let folks know ahead of time that you're going to do a watch party. But you could do it impromptu, you know, and just when you get in there and say, hey, I'm going to do a watch party. Anybody want to watch? You know, and I'm sure you'll get a couple in there anyway. I do know when we did watch Glengarry Glen Ross, we before we watched the movie, we actually watched Rose's Star Trek short, The Trouble with Edward, and we watched her short, Good Crazy. You know, we watched both of those, their shorts, and we watched them before the movie. Then we watched the movie. We wanted to watch the movie because that was the play is very similar, you know, in terms of the plot and everything. As a matter of fact, it's almost, you know, word for word similar, you know, in terms of that. But yeah, we watched that there, and you can do that as well. You can do your own watch parties in this. So there's a lot of stuff you can do in this gaming network, and just get in there and have fun, you know. And the only thing we ask is you don't post anything untoward or inappropriate, you know, into the channel. And I kind of watch that anyway to make sure that bad stuff doesn't get in there, you know, because I will delete it if I see it, you know. So anyway. All right, guys, I guess we can just move on to, you know, how good Alita is as a martial artist. We've done, I think, a couple of streams similar to this in terms of, you know, some of the, I guess here about 2 years ago, I think I did a stream on this in terms of, you know, I guess the techniques, which we're going to go over that as well. I kind of want to go into it a little bit deeper here, into the individual techniques. We did a little bit of that at the last stream where we did a martial arts stream, but you know, this time I want to kind of hit it a little deeper and discuss it. So we're going to talk about, you know, certainly her discipline and what she had learned and how she obtained that kind of a discipline, you know, and being in the military, or if you're a manga fan, because we never read the manga, do we, Lee or Angelus? We don't know.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
What is a manga? We don't know what that is. But anyway, you know, we, you know, basically, you know, just she was more or less a mercenary in the manga. I mean, there was no in the manga, just the movie. So looks like we got old Bruce Scott, Smendrick, B. Gates. This is Scoot von C. Suhören, or Suzanne, actually. So, and after that, we're going to go a little bit over about Panzerkunst. We're going to talk about that. In case you don't know what Panzerkunst is, which I'm sure everybody on this stream knows what it is a martial arts style. Now, it's a fictional martial arts style, but we're going to talk a little bit about Panzerkunst. Then we're going to go over the individual techniques that Alita uses in Panzerkunst and her fighting style. And at the very end, we're going to, kind of, just address whether we think Alita is a good martial artist. I think we know where this is going to go. And then last, and certainly not least, we're going to play that video clip. I think we've seen it before, but of Rosa preparing to portray Alita. It looks like we got Finn's out there too. B. Gates, Finn, good. This is good from Z Suzanne Auch. So anyway, that's cool. We got Badman out there. Hey, Badman. And we got Cal Gotti out there. That almost got past me. Sorry about that, Cal. Yep, Smendrick. Drew Scott, Uncle Creek. Yeah, I guess that's who I am. we were sitting out there at the after the play. I think Vladi called me Creaky. And Rosa looked at me and said, Creaky. And I said, yeah, I'm creaky. Something like that, I think, is the way that works. So anyway, but, that's that. Okay, well, let's talk about her discipline in military service. Now, it's similar both in the manga and in the movie, except for the fact in the movie, of course, she was in the military, and in the manga, she's more of a paramilitary, Mauser school, kind of mercenary type individual, in that one. But, in the military, she learns how to use weapons. She trains, with other in the movie, with other military members. And I think we've commented in the past, like in that scene on the left right there, where she is actually training with Gelda. And of course, Gelda is also a person in the manga as well, so, there's some consistency there as well. But you see, they're in a artificial gravity, type of chamber is what it is. And we've noted on past streams where we've seen this, that there's two chambers behind it where you see, two pairs of other berserkers, actually training or sparring in those chambers. And they look like Alita, which got us to, kind of speculate that maybe many of these berserkers look like Alita, and there's, that she's not unique in her looks, in terms of her facial features and stuff like that. I don't remember exactly what we talked about in the last, I think, Lee, you were on that stream, I think, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Yeah. So, anyway, all the berserkers were in the berserker body, obviously. And I think Alita, in this particular case, I think she was, Gelda was a squad leader, or could have even been a platoon leader. And Alita was at least in the movie, Alita was second in command, I guess, or at least that's the feeling you got, because she was right behind Gelda there, as Gelda was kind of leading the other berserkers up the supply tube. So any thoughts, Lee, about this? Do you remember any of this, anything jump out at you in terms of Alita's military service?
Well, the movie was very different from the, seemed at least very different from the manga in that regard. I mean, in the manga, she was sent on I think the Mauser school. Was that the school she was part of?
Yeah.
The organization? Okay, yeah, they were hired to do what amounted to a terrorist attack.
Yes.
And it was just the one attack. And she had trained up from childhood to be a Künstler. Whereas in the movie, she became part of the official Martian Republic military.
Yeah.
And had probably been involved in numerous conflicts across the war, and possibly even across other planets and moons.
Yeah. So Badman says that she was a red shirt.
So he's saying unless she was a red shirt to act as a human shield, sort of questioning, maybe that was a possibility for her being there.
That's in the manga, I guess.
No, I think he's mentioning it in the movie. Maybe that's why she was so young. I think it might be because of the whole, it was more along the lines of why they get child soldiers in some conflicts, because you get them young and you can get them really well indoctrinated.
Yes. Yeah, and that training sequence there in the gravity chamber, to me, she looked like she was about 12 years old. That's what it
somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so they're very young.
I mean, when you've got bodies as powerful as what they are given, it doesn't matter how old you are. The body is going to be just as powerful for a child soldier as for an adult.
Yes. And of course, she learned weaponry. In the manga, she's familiar with all kind of firearms. I mean, in
the movie, she might have also been taught shipboarding action as well, dealing with ship-to-ship fights.
Yep. We don't. Hopefully, we'll see some of that in flashbacks in the sequel. Hopefully. And
yes, I'm glad to hear that, Finn.
Yeah, Finn had a little bit of a health scare, I guess, and
a worry, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, that's cool, Finn. We're glad to hear that. So that's pretty neat. That's a lot off your mind too, I bet. So anyway, so I almost said Rosa. Alita, it's I think she was a top tier berserker. I mean,
that's the impression I got too. I mean, she seemed to be, if she's anything like the Alita or Yoko from the movie, the manga, sorry, getting mixed up here. From what I understand, Yoko in the manga was a rather high-scoring student in training and excelled at the combat.
Yes. Yeah, I think she was, like I said, you get the impression that she was maybe second in command of that platoon, or that wasn't a platoon. I guess it was a couple of squads.
At the very least, she was someone that Gilda kept a close eye on.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So anyway,
I'd respond to that, but it'd be a spoiler for those who haven't read volumes 10 and 11.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding either. It would be a spoiler for.
Oh, would it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I promised Angelus I'd take volume 10 and 11 with me to London, but I forgot them. I didn't pack them. And when I got to the airport, I went, oh, crap, I forgot volumes 10 and 11, but I wasn't going to drive 50 miles back to the house, particularly when I had to,
Yeah, when you're already right there,
Yeah, that was murderous, too, not to get too far off of this, because here I am sitting at the gate, and they started having mechanical problems with the plane. So, and then, of course, they delayed that, and the plane was supposed to take off like at midnight. So that's
definitely what you want to hear, too. Your plane is having mechanical trouble.
Exactly. So, and it was, I don't think it was a problem like it threatened the operation, but I think it was a device that they had to have to track the flight or something. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, they put me on another flight, because the flight I was going on was flying to Philadelphia, and then from Philadelphia I was going to London. So basically they put me on another flight that took me to Phoenix and flew me to London from there. But the problem was, we got on the plane to Phoenix and flew down to Phoenix, and they had severe thunderstorms down there. So we we basically was in a holding pattern around Phoenix for like well over an hour, and then they had to return to Denver to refuel. So we went back to Denver, and they refueled. That took them probably an hour, or so, and then we flew back to Phoenix, in which we finally got into the Phoenix airport, and then went to my gate. And luckily, the flight that they had put me on to go to London had also been delayed because of the weather. Was bad, and but long story, to make a long story painfully longer, I didn't take off from Phoenix until about, say, 15 minutes after midnight. So it was a real.
Yeah, I had already learned to hate flying in airlines years ago, and it just sounds like it's just getting worse these days.
Yeah, Bad Man says maybe the universe was telling me to go back and get volume 7. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Bad Man. That is 100% correct.
So anyway, but I finally made it. And the first day I was there, I left on Monday, and then arrived in London on Tuesday, and it was late too. I was supposed to get in about like noon or 10 o'clock or something like that, but I ended up not getting in until about 6, something like that at night. But so it was a kind of a long flight. But yeah, I was when I got in there, I didn't do a whole lot that first day, because I was really worn out. It wasn't just jet lag; it was just a sheer amount of time I spent on the plane. It was like 16 hours or 17 hours flying around, So, but our queen's worth it. She's definitely worth it. So any other thought getting back to Alita, in terms of her military service? You guys,
I'd be interested to see what kind of training she got. I mean, it had to have been a bit different from what she got in the manga, or the version of her in the manga.
Yeah.
I mean, in the manga, I think she was pretty much just infantry, wasn't she?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and in the Martian Republics, it could have been a much broader range of training.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get much of a, I guess, flavor of who she was in the movie.
Well, I suspect they were saving all of that for the later movies.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's one of the reasons I want more movies, so they can start, putting that stuff out there.
Well, they're probably going to tell us in flashbacks or something like that. But I do know Alita in the manga, she can be a pretty awful person. I mean, what she do at Operation Malwarf, killed 300,000 people, and then she did it. I mean, and of course her name was Yoko, in the manga, and it wasn't until Ito, renamed her Alita. And it was like being around Ito, whether you look at the manga or you see the movie, it's like he changes her personality.
Well, I think he helped, having him be a healer and seeing him always helping people helped her to build a new personality she got. But a lot of it seemed to be, at least what I was gathering, was the sort of reset that she suffered when she lost her memory.
Yeah. And basically, Ito had a clean slate to work with in that regard, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she'd been, depending on whether you look at the manga or you consider the movie, she'd been in the scrapyard 200 to 300 years. So I mean, in an unconscious state. So anyway, so we know our girl here was basically a top tier military operator. I mean, she was. I think in the movie it's insinuated that she was in special ops. I think.
I got the impression the Berserkers in general were special ops.
Yeah.
Because that was like a very high end, the kind of high end body that it seemed like you would give very specialized elite troops.
Yes. Okay. So anyway, Panzerkunst. Okay. Now this is the martial art that Alita, has learned. And Panzerkunst is specifically, was developed for mostly total replacement cyborgs. I mean, I'm so sure that there are aspects of it that even humans can use, because a lot of the techniques, which we're going to see a lot of them coming up.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I think it was designed for the power of a full cyborg body, the power and toughness, because you could do strikes in a fully prosthetic body that you would, especially one like the Berserker, which is a full-on weapons platform that you could not do with the human body.
Yeah, but the techniques, though, are pretty similar, in terms of, we're going to see all that. It looks very similar to what you would see in karate or kung fu, in terms of that. Now, in terms of the kinds of styles, I've seen that. I saw something on YouTube about a guy that claimed that Alita was actually or that Rosa was actually doing Wing Chun. So
I think that was one of the elements that was incorporated into it.
Well, maybe, but when Rosa was interviewed about it some time ago, she mentioned a couple of martial arts, and Wing Chun wasn't one of them. So now that said, Wing Chun, there's a lot of techniques in Wing Chun that are in karate as well, and kung fu. So, and Wing Chun is a kung fu style. So, there's like 300 different styles of kung fu and karate. So, it's and many of the techniques are really similar, in terms of that. But there's old Dark Star Shadow coming back from Minnesota. How's it going, Dark Star Shadow?
Hey, everybody, can you hear me all right?
We can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, you got me for like 15, 20 minutes at least.
All right, well, that's cool. Glad you dropped in.
So dropped in at the right time. I actually have a lot to say about this part.
All right, cool. Yeah, in terms of, like you were saying, Lee, Panzerkunst itself, a human being couldn't execute the technique with the same effectiveness that a total replacement cyborg could, because of just the construction of the cyborg. Like, for instance, if you tried to do, one of the techniques of Panzerkunst, if you hit somebody or something like that, it's going to break your arm, Whereas I guess if you're a total replacement cyborg, the construction of your body can handle that power, I will say this, that I guess Figure 4, which is it was Alita's lover in the manga in the Badlands arc. He could do a Hertz of Heian. Now, I don't think he could do the electromagnetic shock part of it, but I think he could do the sonic part of it. I think I don't remember. It's been so long since I've read it. Yeah, with chi, that's exactly right. So
yeah, my understanding, it's all about ki.
Yeah,
and that's kind of a misunderstood thing. It's not a mystical force per se.
Yeah.
The direct translation would be fighting spirit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I was in karate some years ago, I got a black belt and all that stuff. My instructor talked a lot about chi. Now, we had more of a Chinese origin, Okinawan style, which had mostly a Chinese origin, and the word was chi. And the idea is that when you punch somebody, you kind of envision extending your energy from beyond your fist into their chest. That was a kind of a mental type thing that you would do. Not that you would actually physically extend energy like that, but it helped you have a more effective punch, let's say. Okay. So anyway, yeah, and you're right, Dark Star Shadow. In Japanese, they say ki as opposed to chi in Chinese. So, but it's essentially the same thing. Angelus, I think, did any of your instructors say that kind of thing? Did you? I think you're muted there, Angelus. Either that or he stepped away. Well, anyway, Panzerkunst, what's kind of neat about it is that, Alita herself is like 4'11", or she's 1.5 meters tall, but it doesn't matter. It's a very effective fighting style against large opponents. And we saw that when she fought Gruishka. I mean, she Well, we'll get to that, to the results of that, but she did more than held her own, didn't she?
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead, Dark Star.
Well, it's kind of the same thing that uses in Jeet Kune Do, where it's controlling the opponent's movement and momentum as much as it's controlling your own.
Yes. And for those of you who don't know,
So it works more. Yeah, it works more with larger opponents than it does with smaller opponents.
Yeah.
Because there's more force.
Well, it enables smaller opponents to effectively fight against large opponents, you know. And for those of you that don't know what Jeet Kune Do is, that's Bruce Lee's fighting style, you know, when he was alive. So he came up with that. So anyway, one of the neat things about some of Alita's training was that she learned how to fight in like 0G and low gravity environments. So, I mean, that's another thing that the military taught the berserkers, was fighting in those kind of environments. And of course, it was
even in the manga. Sorry.
Yeah, in the manga, exactly. Although they didn't have an
even in the manga, it seems like it's a zero gravity first, and then you learn how to fight in gravity.
Yeah. Well, now the manga, of course, doesn't have in it. You know, it's more of just a general Martian. You know, I guess there were a lot of factions there on Mars fighting in the Civil War, I guess, and she was one of the mercenary, or in the mercenary group, the Mauser School, that, you know, I guess they would hire out, I guess, from time to time. So that'd be the manga.
Has anybody here gotten into what's been released so far with Panzerkunst Chronicles?
No, it's not even out in America yet, is it?
It will. We've got the fan translation out.
Oh, we do.
Of the first chapter. The first chapter. I provided you a link, but I don't think you got around to it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, did you send that to me on Discord?
I did. I gave you a link to the fan translation's primary depository.
Of course, Angelus would tell you I need to read chapter 10 and 11 of Mars Chronicles before I read that.
Probably.
Yes.
But I had to do a lot of research on this just so that way I could get my own story straight.
Yeah. By the way, I plugged your when we were on the I guess the gaming network. I plugged your fanfics, you know, on the gaming network.
I do appreciate that. Thank you.
I didn't forget it this time like I did last time.
That's okay. Yeah. That's okay.
So anyway,
I did. So yeah, I don't want to interrupt if I'm interrupting anything. I did notice a few things that were key about it. A couple of the key things that I noticed about Panzerkunst, it's very focused on core control and using that to change your orientation mid-movement.
Yeah.
Whereas in a typical martial art, once you're committed to a movement off the ground, you have nothing to push off against. You have limited options as to where you're going to go. You're stuck in the arc. Panzerkunst teaches you that even if you're in the arc or in the momentum of the arc, you have a lot of options to redirect yourself or to redirect your own momentum and force.
Yeah. I think they also got a technique that involves an observational technique, isn't it? Where you get in a blind spot or something behind your opponent, they don't know you're there or something.
Scott and Fulgen, shadow following. Yeah, that's where you basically, they also have another technique that is key disruption, where you're reading the opponent's rhythm and then looking to a point where you can either do a feint or limited attack in order to disrupt their rhythm.
Okay. Well, cool. So yeah, it is like a martial art with a few extra goodies, I guess you could say. I guess.
Well, there's lots to it.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a martial art. That's fictional for sure, but it's a martial art that the berserkers or the Künstlers in the manga use, you know, as a fighting style. So, and they have to go through training and stuff like this. Now we're going to go through some of these techniques. Like for instance, what you see, that stance right there, you know, is a kung fu stance called snake creeps down, is what that is, you know. So we talked about that on a stream about 2 years ago, a little bit, you know, about what that was, and compared, you know, Panzerkunst to other karate and kung fu styles. You know, there's some differences for sure. And I guess Koshiro was pretty imaginative, you know, about that. I mean, you know, things like own style is an example where Künstler has a, or Berserker has
Seinerweisen.
yeah, where they have a style.
My German is
that's
terrible, so I
unique to them.
apologize if anybody's yelling at me that my pronunciation is awful. I apologize. My German is terrible.
Well, that's all right. But anyway, yeah, that's where they have a particular technique is unique to them, you know. Now, I think Alita's is the plasma, but I think we've talked about a couple of places where maybe Erica had the ability to control plasma at one time. I don't remember. So, of course, Angelus would say if you'd have read chapters 10 and 11, you'd know a little bit more about this by now. So,
You know me too well.
so anyway, Panzerkunst is the basis for their, you know, for the Künstlers or the Berserkers for their fighting, and really, it is a kind of a hand-to-hand or weaponless fighting. But they, you know, the Künstlers themselves and the Berserkers movie or manga, they also learned how to, you know, fight with weapons. So I mean, it wasn't like it was all hand-to-hand. I mean, certainly they knew how to fight, use plasma rifles and rocket launchers and stuff like that. Has Angelus a new name? Yeah, he does. He does have a new name there, Finn. He's jealous that I guess that Smendrick and Vladi and I got to see our queen, and he didn't get to go this time. Although we wish you were there, Angelus. That would have been cool if you'd have been there. So anyway, any other thoughts about Panzerkunst, you guys?
I do, but I'm waiting to see if anybody else does.
Go ahead.
Nothing comes to mind for me. So
I hate it because I came in the middle of this and I wasn't able to listen too closely to what come before. So I'm sorry if I tread some of the same ground.
No, that's all right.
And a lot of my observation is from the manga, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But one of the other aspects of Panzerkunst is it originates from the hips and shoulders, most of the attacks, as opposed to something like Figure 4's Koppo, which originates from the knees and shoulders in a lot of their attacks. So, and it is all, and like I said before, it's mostly about maintaining momentum and direction and control of the momentum.
Yes. Yeah, you can go with us to London next time, Dark Star Shadow.
I wish.
Sure, I am so sure that
Yeah.
Smendrick and I would love to teach you a little more German, but mostly Smendrick. My German, I keep telling Smendrick that his German's better than my English. His English is better than my German. He says, no, it's not. And I say, yes, it is. So that's how we do on that one. Yes, Finn, it is Kunst, not Kunst, with the umlauts over the U, which you see there in the title, for sure. So,
Kunst.
Yeah. So yeah, our girl here, Alita, she's a master at it. You know, I mean,
there's multiple. Sorry, yeah, there's multiple Seinerweisens. Erica has the speedball technique. I don't know if that's her own Seinerweisen or if that's just a Mauser school. And then we have Zex, who developed her own with her spinning Zexter Angriff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like about a dozen techniques. I got a video out on my YouTube channel that lists them, each individual one, that are specific Panzerkunst techniques. One's bomb making, I think, is another one of them. So anyway, any more thoughts about Panzerkunst, you guys? Anything at all? Okay, well, let's talk about her fighting style. Now, here's some of the techniques. Now, these are the techniques. These aren't specifically Panzerkunst techniques. Panzerkunst techniques are, they're very specific. Like, I think one was the art of bomb making. Herzaheon's another one. Oh gosh, that don't involve any of these. These are more like karate and kung fu techniques that also are incorporated in Panzerkunst. And you see, we're going to go over a bunch of them right here. All of these.
Creek, I actually just thought of something.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
One of the other very important Panzerkunst techniques is the control of and the understanding of vibration and harmonics.
Yes.
This comes in huge in the Last Order manga. And Erica exploits it to the point of breaking thermodynamics, but
yeah. Actually, she had come up with another technique that Alita didn't, or Yoko didn't know about too, didn't she?
Yeah, actually, the ability to sustain a hertz well beyond what it should be able to do by using the harmonics of the body, which, like I said, breaks thermodynamics because density isn't uniform. But Alita is no slouch in this herself because she has the ability to innately understand the harmonics of a target she attacks.
Yeah.
In order to produce those blows.
And I think the thing about the harmonics as well is, like, say, for instance, when she punches you, the harmonic itself, it's kind of like stays in your body and disrupts, organs or whatever it is. As a matter of fact, there's one, I guess there's one set of panels in there where I guess Erica had done something with Zazie where, that she had, I guess put this harmonic or whatever it was she had in Zazie, and the idea was that within 1 month, Zazie's brain or head was going to explode, and Alita actually counteracted that. So I can't remember what
counter vibration.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, see that,
and that's a real physics thing.
Yeah, yes, it is.
You can do this.
Yes,
you can even step or stagger vibrations in order to amplify them too. And I think that might be part of what Erica's using.
And Finn says, is there some Muay Thai in here? Well, yeah, Muay Thai. I mean, they have kicks and punches just like other karate, other martial arts techniques do. I kind of wish that Den had come on because he does Muay Thai. So anyway, that's all right. So anyway, these are the fighting techniques that we see in the movie that Alita uses that are, I guess they're used by the Berserkers, but they're not specific to Panzerkunst. Or if they are very similar to other martial arts styles, like space karate as an example. Toji had some of this stuff,
It's karate in space.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly what it is. Okay, well, let's go into the individual techniques. Now, here's the one called the axe kick, and this is a pretty common, kick in martial arts. Now, the difference here is that the axe kick practiced by human karateka, you're standing on the ground when you do it. Alita obviously jumped off a ledge and severed Grewishka's arm with this axe kick. And I did a calculation. I can't remember what it was, how many foot-pounds of force that she delivered to his arm, and it was awesome. I don't recall the top of my head, but the force resistance of steel is pretty heavy. Now granted she's going for a joint there, which is not going to be quite as force resistance as just solid steel, but it's still going to be pretty damn tough. And she was able to remove his arm with this axe kick. So this is a kick that.
All right, Creaky, I got to go. Thank you so very much for having me.
All right, Dark Star Shadow. I'm glad you could join us. Yes.
See ya.
Take care, all. Bye-bye.
So anyway, Angelus, this is a technique that, you know, I practiced some. Now, certainly I didn't deliver it like Alita does for sure when I was practicing karate. Is this something that you've done in the past, or have you used it in sparring sessions and stuff
Not
like that?
really. I did the sideways version, which is a roundhouse kick.
Yeah, that's right. Now,
in
we don't
a
have
way, it's exactly that, because her centrifugal force as she's
Yeah.
spinning is, like I said, a sideways roundhouse. But yeah.
Well, roundhouse. What's interesting about roundhouse kicks? Now, we're not going to talk about it here because that's not in the movie. But a roundhouse kick is like a really fast kick, and you know, you see it a lot in tournaments. Is what you see, you know. And I remember the style that I was in when I practiced, when I was doing karate, was called Kenpo karate. And by the way, not that American Kenpo. It's more of the Okinawan with Chinese, you know, originally that was, I guess, developed in China. And, you know, I guess, I can't remember the name. My brother, I wish he was here. He could, Matashi, I think was his name. It you know, in Okinawa had kind of taken it and, you know, done some modification to it and stuff like that. But we didn't have roundhouse kicks in Kenpo karate. And I didn't know what a roundhouse kick was until I got into my first tournament. And the guy threw a roundhouse kick at me. I'm like, oh shit, what was that? Kind of thing. So once I saw, yeah, go ahead.
Flip it back again and say roundhouse kick is just a sideways axe kick. Or
Yeah,
the way
basically.
Alita's doing it anyway.
Well, of course, you also kick with the top of your foot too, and not the heel like she's doing there, or the back of her leg in this case. So,
but ultimately, it's, well, exactly as the name implies. It's the motion of how someone would swing an axe, whether
yeah.
it be to chop a tree or an opponent.
Yeah. Well, she certainly delivered this one. But yeah, that roundhouse kick is it doesn't have the power that, say, an axe kick does, or even a side kick. It's just, it's a fast, you know, kind of delivery. And I remember once I saw that, I started practicing it myself, because I mean, if you get in a karate tournament like I was way back when in the 70s, and you couldn't do a roundhouse kick, you didn't stand much of a chance against people you were sparring against, you know, because they had that kick. And mostly the folks in Taekwondo and Shotokan and Gemwa Kai and some of these styles, they had that roundhouse kick, and we did not, you know. So, you know, we learned it pretty fast, you know, and incorporated it into, not into the style itself, but just into our own personal arsenal, you know, so we could use it in tournaments. So, Lee, did you ever take karate or anything like that?
I briefly took Aikido, which didn't really have much in it as far as combat applicability.
Yeah, that's the kind of a guide the opponent and uses force against him type thing, isn't it?
Something like that. I found out later in life that Aikido was actually meant originally to be a additional add-on to a combat-related martial art. It was never meant to be used on its own.
Ah. Now, you probably did get some hand-to-hand combat training in the military, didn't you, Lee?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Oh.
You've asked me about this before. The only combat training I got in the Air Force, because I was going into the field of being of age mechanics. I was just going to be, you know, be a mechanic, work on the generators and stuff.
Yeah.
I fired an M16 in basic, like everybody, and then I fired an M16 again to recertify a couple of years later, as well as a shotgun once.
Okay.
And that was it. I actually shot guns while I was outside of the military more frequently than I ever did when I was in the military.
Yeah. Well,
but that was because of the field and the branch that I went into. If I had gone into security, police, or combat controller, I would have received a great deal more combat training.
Yeah, I was never in the military, and I fired a shotgun quite a bit when I was younger.
Mhm.
I had a 12 gauge shotgun that my stepbrother sold for pot money. So anyway,
Yeah, hillbillies growing up in the backwoods will fire weapons a lot more often than a mechanic in the Air
well,
Force.
we weren't exactly hillbillies. We lived down in Florida.
Well, just as an example, I mean, you get like, people in the
Yeah.
civilian world, especially in America, are probably going to see a lot more guns than they do in the military
Yeah.
if they join the Air Force as a mechanic or administration or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, there's Alita delivering that axe kick, which is awesome. Now this is another technique called a chain punch. Now, back in the day, I used to use this myself in tournaments, but we didn't call it the chain punch. We called it the Texas Blitz. And the reason why this was so effective against a lot of karate people, particularly Taekwondo, and in some cases, not every time. I mean, there are people in Taekwondo that know how to throw a punch. There's no doubt about that. But in some styles, they some of the fighters didn't they didn't use their hands so much. I mean, they might do a back fist or something like that, but they were mostly kicks. And they were not accustomed to blocking punches and stuff like that. So this Texas, the version of this chain punch used called the Texas Blitz was just that you throw punches in different ways, to connect with your opponent. Now, mostly when I fought, and Angelus, you can chime in here because I mostly fought no contact in karate or in tournaments. We did do some light contact. We had safety punch and safety kick. We used that. And at one time I did spar against the World Karate Association middleweight champion, and he was pretty badass. I was hanging on by my fingernails now. But he's a good friend too. He's a Facebook friend. But anyway, but sometime that would be effective. This chain punch would be effective against people that are not used to, that maybe are trained karateka, but they're not used to using their hands as much as they are their feet, So in this particular case, and I remember Rosa saying something about this in an interview, that they were kind of like paying tribute to Bruce Lee, doing this chain punch.
I remember something about that, yeah.
Yeah, and she executed this perfectly. I mean, God almighty. Shadow boxing, what is this, Finn? I think just boxing by yourself, I guess, is what that is. Yeah, I never really got into boxing too much, except when I was a kid, a really young kid, maybe 6 or 7 years old, just with other neighborhood kids. You'd put on gloves and wail away at each other. That's not really boxing, is it? That's just being dumbasses as little kids, I guess. But this was really effective and could be really effective in tournaments, particularly because once you started this and you did this, what we called the Texas Blitz back in the day, one punch, if one punch got through, they all are going to get through, And I particularly remember sparring a guy in the semifinals one time and of a tournament. And he was pretty good. He was he could kick real well and he had good technique. And, I was kind of feeling him out, and I noticed that, I could get a back fist in on him pretty easy, So I said, okay, let's see how he handles this. And I did a Texas Blitz on him, and he didn't block a single punch, and every one of them got through. So, but now it was no contact. We weren't trying to hit each other at that point in that tournament, So, but yeah, this was a tribute to Bruce Lee, and this is the one where, Alita punches at the mirror, and her fist stops 1 centimeter from the mirror, which was pretty cool. So Angelus, did you ever practice a chain punch or?
No. I don't know, like even point sparring.
Yeah.
It I didn't really find it effective.
Yeah, point tournaments, you didn't need to do this as much because, once you got the first hit in, it was over. You know, you stop, you get a point, you know. But I have sparred in tournaments where there weren't points. You sparred, and the judges subjectively said, okay, this person fought better than this person, and we're awarding them the match, you know, stuff like that. And those kind of tournaments, that kind of sparring, then the chain punch is really good, you know, particularly if your opponent is not used to blocking punches, you know. So, but I think you guys all remember this. This is after Alita wakes up, and well, she didn't wake up. After she had beat the crap out of the 3 cyborgs, you know, in the alley. And you remember that thing that, you know, she says, the woman in my dreams called me 99, you know, and, you know, and then of course she gets up out of bed and goes through a bunch of different movements, you know. What is this, Finn? Finn, did you ever take karate? You can say yes or no in the chat, I guess. By the way, boxing is a martial art. People don't realize it, but it is. Some people, yeah. Okay, well, moving on, I guess. The front kick. Now, this is a pretty common kick. In Kenpo, we call this the fast kick, but it is a front kick, you know. And of course, it's as simply as you can see there. You know, she's just, you know, kicking with one leg forward, you know. And here's another example of it right here. Actually kicking Zapan in the face. So, you know, when she humiliated him in the bar, I guess. But yes, it's simply kicking something. Now, usually on these kind of kicks like this, I have found, you know, just sparring. Now, I never use karate in an actual fight. You know, I mean, I'm not, you know, I don't fight, you know, type thing. I mean, I guess I could if I had to, but I mean, you know, I didn't ever use karate in anger, you know, type thing or in a fight. But usually the more efficient or the most effective ways you do these kicks is that usually they're low kicks, you know, usually. And that doesn't mean you can't kick high. I mean, if you watch a UFC fight or MMA fight, people do spinning back kicks and, you know, kick somebody in the head and knock them out. You know, I mean, certainly you can do it, you know. But in a street fight, typically, you know, a kick to the groin or a knee or something like that is kind of what we're talking about here, you know, for the most part, self-defense. But certainly Alita, you know, I mean, she is capable enough and fast enough, you know, that when you kick, now here's a kick looks like to the solar plexus right here, you know, where she's just basically, that's about midway up the chest, just below the sternum. And then, of course, this one here, she's kicking Zapan in the face, you know. So, but she's so fast that she can do it. And Finn, there's nothing in the movie where she does a roundhouse kick. She does one that's kind of close, and we're going to see that. That's close to a roundhouse, but still not a roundhouse. Roundhouse kicks are really fast kicks themselves, but they're almost like a side kick, except you're standing sideways and you're kicking in front of you, in front of you, and you're hitting someone with the top of your foot, you know, as opposed to like here, she's kicking someone with the heel, you know, of her foot here and like maybe here, where she's, let me go back one here, I guess, where she, you know, is just kicking straight forward. There's nothing, you know, exotic about this, you know, it's just kicking straight forward, you know, is all it is. Any thoughts about this, particularly from you, Angelus? Because I think Angelus is a black belt, so he should know some of this, I think.
Sorry, my just as I was about to respond, the screen went blank, so I'm trying to. The chaos isn't meant to start until tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow is going to be a good stream.
Yes, sure. I wanted to talk about it today, but it's like I've got to save myself for the birthday stream.
Well, I'll bring up the first slide again if you want to say just a little bit. We don't want to do too much because we don't want to steal.
No, that's all right. But yeah, I mean, I just use it because it's, I guess, versatile. Because it's not just an attacking move. You can just use it to, much like how a boxer uses it. You can gauge the distance. You can set up other attacks.
Yeah.
Or you can just simply use it to keep the opponent at bay.
Yeah, a lot of
Sorry.
times these kicks, you can do like a feint or something like that with your hands to pull their guard up and then kick them low, you know, or you can do something like a low kick, a feint, you know, where they'll drop their guard and you punch them, you know, or strike them, you know, with elbow or something like that, you know. One of the things that, well, I don't have it in here, but, you know, in this particular fight, she certainly, you know, just before she does this front kick, she does something called a palm strike. And that is real effective hitting somebody in the face. You really, you know, you really don't want to punch somebody with your fists in their face, you know, because you can run the risk. I mean, you can if you use, you know, the two major knuckles, you know, where they won't break or something like that. But you run the risk of breaking bones if you punch somebody in the face with your fists.
Yeah, not necessarily just their bones either.
Yeah, your bones. That's exactly right. But if you do a palm strike, it's just as effective. And as a matter of fact, Alita does this to Zapan just before this kick right here. She hits him in the nose with a palm strike, and that's what breaks his nose, actually, you know. So a palm strike is pretty effective, you know, I neglected to put that in here, you know, but a palm strike is another karate technique that a lot of different styles use. But certainly the front kick is just about in every style I can think of, even Sabat, you know, which is a French martial art. You know, just about every Japanese and Chinese style I can think of, and Filipino style, they all have front kicks, you know, every single one of them I can think of. So, and then this one, now this is not so much, this is more of a MMA technique, I guess, you know, where you get somebody down the ground and you just pound them, you know, basically what this is. And we saw her do this against Romo, you know, and of course we're going to see another technique she did with Romo here in a little bit. But, you know, you just get somebody down on the ground like she has Romo here, and you're relentless, just punching them, you know, until, you know, that they are not a threat anymore. You know, in the case of Romo, she actually kills Romo, you know, punching him. And the thing about it now with her, punching somebody with a fist is, you know, I mean, her fist is not going to be as vulnerable to force as a human fist. So she can punch somebody with her fist and not worry about breaking her knuckles or breaking any bones in her hand, because she doesn't have bones. I mean, in this case,
yeah, a cybernetic arm is basically going to be a metal club.
That's right. And so she can punch you all day like this without worrying about breaking anything. I mean, I guess she could punch you hard enough to break the material on her hand, but if she hits you that hard, she's only going to hit you once, and then you're going to be done, you know. But here, I think I counted.
Did you ask him when you saw him?
Say what, Angelus?
So did you ask him when you saw him in person? Romo.
No, I did not ask him. Yeah, we did.
For those that don't know.
We saw Romo, or Derek Mears. We saw him about 3 years ago, I guess it was, wasn't it, Lee? I guess
somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, went over to the
at the Comic-Con here in the Springs.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's a pretty cool guy too. You know, he's a big fella, isn't he, Lee?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's bigger than I am,
No.
or taller anyway. So, but yeah, this is more of an MMA type of approach to fighting. You know, you get, you know, ground fighting. Now, the problem with ground fighting is certainly like with, say, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or something like that, which is a very good fighting style for sure, you know. But if you're fighting somebody and they got buddies and you get them on the ground, you're vulnerable, even though you're on top of them, or, you know, you're doing a technique on them. You know, their buddies can hit you.
Yeah, it's definitely for one-on-one fighting.
Yeah, it's for one-on-one stuff. Now that said, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is pretty. It's pretty good. You know, it's a pretty effective fighting style, as long as it's one-on-one mostly. You know, so anyway, she gets Romo down and just pounds him with like 11 punches. I think is what I counted in the movie. It could have been 9, but I think it was 11. And it was just a continuous, relentless, you know, punch, 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 punch. You know, not like a Texas Blitz or a chain punch where it's real fast, but it's just relentless. You know, it's just over and over. You keep punching and keep punching until that person does not move. That's kind of what ground and pound is, you know. And that's not a specific karate or kung fu style itself. It's more of just a brawling, street fighting types, you know, technique, I guess you would say. And you can see if you look at her hands, they got blue, you know, liquid on them. Of course, that's the cyber blood that, you know, that's in, I guess, Romo's face, you know. Yeah, so she's pounding the crap out of him, you know. So, any thoughts, guys, particularly you, Angelus, since you're a martial artist?
No, it's just very good for film.
Look,
Yeah,
even when even when Alita's mad, she's got uwu, doesn't she?
Always.
Yeah, she looks pretty intense there, doesn't she?
Yep.
I wouldn't want to piss her off. Okay, the hip throw is something that's in a lot of styles, and certainly in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, judo, but even in our style in Kenpo and other karate styles, they have hip throws. You know, we do that. And of course, this is a hip throw that she did on that one soldier while she was fighting on the moon. And of course, here's another one where she's in the bar and she throws, you know, one of the hunter warriors over her hip. She makes him land on his head, I guess, which wouldn't be a good thing for the person. But oh, wait a minute. AKA said he thought on the ground and pound. Yeah, she could punch faster, but I think the idea here is AKA is it's a mix of power and speed, not just speed.
Could also be that the doll body didn't have the level of speed that she'd probably be accustomed to in like a berserker body.
Yeah. Well, if you punch somebody one time, you hit them in the face, you disorient them. You don't have to hit fast. You can just keep hitting, you know, and they can't react, you know, because their brain's not working properly or something, you know. Oh, yeah, you can calm her down. Just give her a piece of birthday chocolate cake. Yeah, you can do that. Kind of like Smendrick Lottie gave Rosa a birthday cake, I guess. So.
I guess he's saying that you can punch way faster in the movie, or in the real life, and not the movie.
Well, no, he just says.
I think Finn was saying down here at the bottom here, or maybe he's talking about something else. I think I may have lost track of what they were.
All right, that's all right. Yeah. So this kind of goes to what Dark Star Shadow was talking about a while ago in Panzerkunst, using your hips. You know, that's one of the things that doesn't. Here, I mean, a lot of styles use hip throws, obviously, but this is probably an adaptation of a Panzerkunst technique right here. I mean, hip throw, you know, but it's not unique to Panzerkunst, obviously. The thing about Rosa, the thing about Alita is that she has a lot of inherent strength, you know, particularly in the berserker body. I mean, she's like, you know, order of magnitude stronger than humans. You know, I mean, she's, you know, you look at her and, you know, you see that, you know, she's, you know, 4 feet 11 inches tall. She's 1.5 meters. She doesn't look very imposing. That's a big mistake. If you think you're going to bully her or something like that, or take advantage of her, you'll real quickly find out that you're in over your head by a lot. because she's not only an accomplished martial artist, but she's also got physical strength that's beyond humans. Even in her doll body, she is stronger than humans, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and most humans at the very least. And Finn says she's superhuman and a queen. Yes, she is. Absolutely. Let's see, what do we got here, AKA? I thought that most power comes from our mind. Yeah. Yeah, that's what Vector said, or rather Nova said. It was the power is not of the body, it was of the mind. She could have both speed and power, at least a good opportunity to showcase your unique power, level, and skill. Yep, that's right.
Well, a good bit of that too is probably her precision. I mean, if you've got her and somebody else throwing a punch, you got somebody who throws a punch who's really strong but not really skilled. He's not going to be real precise with it. She is very precise and highly skilled with her attacks.
Yep. Well, I know when I was in martial arts, you know, we were taught, you know, to try to hit the vulnerable areas. You know, there are points on the body that you hit, you know, that are going to have a more wide systemic effect on the body than other places. You know, like for instance, kicking or hitting somebody in the solar plexus, you know, is going to be a pretty debilitating type thing, debilitating rather. Or something as simple as slapping somebody on their throat. You know, that, you know, you slap somebody on their throat, you know, or punch them in the throat, that's going to be debilitating. Poking them in the eyes, that is going to be debilitating. So, you know, that's kind of, and Alita has that precision down to a millimeter probably. You know, what is this? I'm trying to say it's really hard to punch both hard and fast. Yeah, that's right. But I reckon she could do it no matter what body she's in. She has intensity inherent in her very being. Yep. Yeah, particularly in that berserker body, you know, I mean, like Lee was saying a while ago, that is a weapons platform. So it is designed for speed and power, you know. So, I mean, but yeah, even the doll body, because she's got that embedded in her mind, she can be very precise there, but not like in her berserker body. Let's see what we got. Yes, Lee, I would love that about Alita. Precision. Yeah, that's right. Such a big part of martial arts. Yes, that's right. Okay, any other thoughts about this hip throw? Now,
No,
this is,
I'm just thinking she could develop her own style of martial arts called Uwu Do.
yes. The uwu will distract you, and then she will knock your lights out.
Then she'll ground and pound.
Yeah, now this is what's called. Oh, go ahead, Angelus. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just completing my sentence, so all good.
So this is called an inward block, and of course the opposite of this is the outward block. Now, basically, the inward block is where you take, you know, your arm or your hand and you kind of push it. You know, if you can imagine your left hand, you're going to block with your left hand, kind of like she's doing there, and you kind of move your hand from left to right to block. In other words, you're pushing your hand from your left side to your right side. That would be the inward block. The outward block, which I'm so sure she can do, is that your hand is kind of starts out on your right side. If you're doing your left hand, it's like it's on the right side of your body and it comes over back to the left. So that's the outward block. So those are blocks that are meant to protect against punches. You can even do that against kicks, you know, depending on how strong your punch is, how strong your block is. You know, not to brag, but I can remember years ago when I was doing karate, I would use these grips to make my forearms are like really strong, and I could block kicks with my arms, you know. So that's not usual though. Usually you evade or something like that. But you know, they're basically mostly for like protecting against punches. And we saw her do this. You know, this is another one of those techniques she did in front of the mirror. And you see that left arm there, like she's simulating blocking that punch. And she's got her right arm elevated, like with her fist, and that would the counter punch would be to come back with the right, after blocking. So now this is not a Panzerkunst technique, or not unique to Panzerkunst. Inward and outward blocks, just about every martial art I can think of has inward and outward blocks, just about every one of them. So any thoughts, guys?
I'm afraid I'm not that knowledgeable about martial arts in general.
Well, this one's pretty simple, so I imagine Angelus probably doesn't have a lot to say
Well,
about
it's simple to the point where she even does a variation right at the end.
Yep.
With the Damascus blade.
Yep.
Good at slicing elongated fingers.
Yep. Now this is called a knife hand. Now I know in my style we didn't have knife hand. Certainly it's something you would use to say poke their eyes or something like that, or hit them in the throat.
Hit soft areas.
Yeah, that's right.
But when you've got a metal hand and cybernetic joints,
you don't have to worry about that, do you?
Yeah, you turn your hand and forearm into a blunt spear.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That's another example of how Künstler or Berserker can execute a technique that would be, somewhat effective in karate, but since the composition of her body is what it is, it can be devastating. This could be a killing blow for sure, which a knife hand might not. I guess you could kill somebody, a human could do it with a knife hand, but it'd be tougher to do than if you were a total replacement cyborg and you hit somebody with, like what you said, Lee, a blunt, club. Although that doesn't look like it's blunt, is it? Looks more like, you say, a spear, I guess.
Yeah, blunt spear.
So she could probably drive her hand through your chest. A human's not going to be able to do that. Or she could drive her hand through your throat. The human's not going to be able to do that, particularly the chest. You hit somebody with a knife hand in the chest, you're probably going to break your fingers if you hit them on the sternum or something like that. Her, she's going to break your sternum in half and drive her hand into your chest. As a matter of fact, in Lee's story, that's kind of what she does to Fenrir, isn't it?
Yep.
And
in that case, she happened to be using the plasma as well, but even without it, she would have done some damage.
Yep. Yeah, she fried his heart. So anyway, this is a technique with humans would be kind of like I don't want to say feint, but like you would think of in boxing, a left jab, just jab, With her, if she hits you with a knife hand, you're dead. If she puts any
hits you with just about anything, you're going to be hurting pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but yeah, with a normal human hand and arm, the fingers and the joints are not the strongest part as far as, delivering a blow with.
Yeah.
But with a cybernetic body, you've got a much tougher material and form. So
yes. You don't even have to really worry about whether your technique is perfect either. If she's just a little off, it's still going to be like she's hitting you with a spear. So,
yep.
And not like with a human, they got to hit perfectly, for maximum effectiveness. But, she can just damn near hit you anywhere, and they're going to drive her hand into your chest or into your side or your stomach or through your throat or whatever.
It's going to do some significant damage.
That's right. Yeah. Grishka calling her a little flea. Yeah, I said, no, that's not going to work for him long term. What is this right here? Imagine a knife hand and a berserker body after that finger set on the floor. Yes. Oh, that's a good point, AKA. She did those finger stands on the floor. Holy moly.
Yeah, if she'd done that knife hand strike into his eye with her berserker body, she could have activated the plasma as well. Would have fried him inside and out.
Well, when she rammed her hand into because that's kind of what she did. she did a knife hand on
Yes.
Garisha's eye.
That's exactly what it was, just like what she's doing here. It was a knife hand strike into his eye.
Now, the thing of it is, though, I don't know if she thought about it this time, but if she had done something like while her hand was in there, grab his brain chip, he's dead.
She may not have been able to. As big as his head was, I have a feeling that his brain was back away from his face more.
Probably.
So, as small as she was and as big as his head was, I don't think she was going to be able to. Not to mention, she broke her arm off in his head.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there's a
she did that
good
before,
possibility that she may have damaged it badly enough in the strike that she wasn't able to control it after that anyway. So
maybe so, but if she could control it, and if she did get her hand on his brain chip,
well, he didn't have a brain chip. He had a brain.
He was a brain, didn't he? So she could have.
Yeah, so she could have just wiggled her fingers around there and given him an aneurysm.
Yeah, or something. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Finestro. That's exactly what Alita did to in Jason's story. Did to Fenrir. You know, did the knife hand and then incinerated his heart with plasma. Ooh, that'd be a horrible way to go, wouldn't it?
No.
Yep. Okay. Now this one, just about every single karate style I can think of has a side kick. And of course, here she's doing a head high kick right here. This is in the bar fight. And this just goes to show you that even in her doll body, I mean, she was pretty much kicking butt through many or several of those hunter warriors, even in her doll body, which is kind of amazing, you know. But yeah, side kick is pretty common, I think, in martial arts. There's another case. Now here she's doing like a flying side kick. So she basically, it's the same thing, except not having your foot anchored to the ground when you do the kick. Like say over here, see her foot's on the ground, her left foot, and she's kicking with her right. Here she's just kind of jumping through the air and doing the same, basically the same thing. And she's doing that here with Romo. You know, she's doing a flying side kick. That's almost a front kick, almost, but I think it's still, I guess you would say that's still a side kick. But, you know, she's kind of flying through the air. Now, I remember on this particular one, I calculated how far she had jumped through the air. It was like 15 feet, you know, executing a side kick. No human being can do that. They can't jump 15 feet. Now, granted, she was running, but, you know, jumping 15 feet and then executing a perfect side kick, nah, that's not.
Even with a running start, I don't think a human's going to get that far.
No, I don't think so either. And of course, she did it again to Nisiana right here. You know, Nisiana, remember, she had kicked her, you know, after Nisiana tried to, you know, I guess,
skewer her.
Yeah, skewer her or something like that on the ground, like we saw in the anime at least. And of course, she missed every time. And then that's another thing about Alita's fighting style. She's very innovative, very adaptive. You know, she kind of pushed herself up with her hand, turned over and kicked with both feet and kicked her up on the side of the wall, you know, where she was, you know, doing the, you know, thing on the wall. And then, of course, she jumped back at Alita, and Alita did this flying side kick. And she kicked her so hard that she goes flying into the other wall, and her hands, you know, get, you know, lodged into the wall because she had hooks on them, I guess. And she did yet, although that wasn't strictly a flying side kick there, it was, but I guess it's more like a double side kick in which she decapitated her, you know. So, yeah, that's pretty tough right there, you know. So she ended up killing Nisiana, even though Nisiana had those blade weapons, you know. Yeah, choose, Smendrick. Okay. Now this is one called a tornado kick. Now it looks like she's doing a side kick here, and it kind of, I guess it kind of ends up that way. But what she did was spin around in the air, and then that's where that kick from. And of course she kicks this guy in the jaw right here, you know, after spinning in midair and kicking. She did this twice actually, you know. and that's called a tornado kick. Now we didn't have this in Kenpo karate. Angelus, did you ever do a tornado kick? I guess Angelus is muted.
Oh, no wonder I wasn't hearing anything. No, not at all.
Yeah, it's a pretty extreme move right here. Not a lot, I guess you might see something like this in a tournament, but that's not something that you probably would want to see in a real fight. Maybe, I don't know. Alita seemed to pull it off okay because she was beating the crap out of these people in the bar. So, but yeah, you see there that, yeah, the sole of her boot is on that guy's jaw, man. If she'd done spun it around the air and then just delivered that kick. Now with her, as powerful as she is being a total replacement cyborg, and he looks like a meat boy, doesn't he? She kicked hard.
At most, it looks like he might be a partial cyborg.
Yeah. She could probably decapitate a meat boy doing this, but hurricane kick too. Yeah, that's right, Finn. I've heard it called that as well. So now the last two movements here I wanted to bring up are not so much, well, I guess you could say they're kind of fighting movements, but they're more like what you would see in forms, like kata. Now this is that form I mentioned a while ago called Snake Creeps Down, and this is like a kung fu form. And what they do is with kata, what the idea is that what kata is good for is it kind of teaches people how to put movements together. Now kata itself doesn't really teach you how to fight. It's a good thing for beginners, to kind of learn how to put together punches and kicks in an effective way, and here this is more of a balancing type form. There are like 2 or 3 different styles that use Snake Creeps Down. I think Tai Chi uses it. There's some other kung fu styles that use this. But this is very much a kung fu style. It's not a Panzer Kunst style necessarily. Now, obviously, Alita's doing it, so she probably learned it at the Mauser School. Say, if you were considering the manga as being part of this, or in her military training, she probably learned Snake Creeps Down. So as kind of a balancing, type of a technique, that she could learn how to balance when fighting. So now this would not be effective in a fight. You get into this position right here, and it's probably not
more of an exercise in a fighting.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Now in her case, she's so fast that maybe she can use this. And I guess a kung fu master might be able to use this in a fight in a way that would be effective in fighting. Finn, I don't ever remember seeing this called Scorpion style. I've always heard it called Snake Creeps Down, but the idea is balance here, of course, And also, this right here, now I got here Kenpo Karate Special Movement 5. Now, this is very similar to one of our movements in Kenpo Karate in the style of Kenpo I was in, not American Kenpo. I don't know about American Kenpo. But the big difference here is that, of course, in our style, we don't grab the larynx like that and then, use it for leverage and slam the head on the table like Alita did with Japan here. What we would do is, do something similar to this with our hand behind their neck, and then of course, whether you slam their head on the table or you kind of use their arm as leverage against them and kind of, break the arm by, go hyperextending at the elbow and stuff like that. So this is kind of almost a variation of our Kenpo Karate Special Movement 5, and that's kind of an advanced movement. that we had the black belts, that we use, in the style of karate I was in. But what I would say though is that even these special movements, we had things we called grab arts, rotations, combinations, special movements, knife attacks. They're good for practice, but in fighting, you may not want to use them because a lot of them may not be effective. They're good for you to practice and keep your mind sharp in terms of using techniques. And, certainly this might be one of those. You would have to be extremely fast because, for instance, like with a knife attack, you wouldn't, we had techniques where you would grab someone's arm and you would say a phrase, something like "What's happening here?" to distract them, and then hit their hand, hit their, do some kind of, punch to their ribs or something like that, and then grab their arm and turn it and stuff like that. That's too much, I mean, it's good for practicing movements, but in a knife attack, that's probably not going to be so effective, because a person's not going to let you hold on to their arm if they have a knife. They're going to be jabbing at you and swinging at you and doing everything they can to cut you, or stab you. So, it's a different situation fighting, but with whether it's, these kind of movements like we see right here, or we see like snake creeps down, or we see here with this special movement, that's a good way to practice, and probably Alita did practice a lot. And we saw her practicing in front of the mirror, So does anybody remember that old movie, You Only Live Twice, James Bond?
It has been way too long. I remember seeing the movie. I just don't remember any specifics from it.
Well, there's a sequence in there where one of the guys who was a sword master went through all these pre-described motions with his sword, and then they get in the real fight, and he goes through exactly the same motions and kills like 5 guys. That is not realistic, because fights are a lot more fluid, a lot more chaotic than they would be in, say, practice movements. But anyway, that you can see, this is where a lot of the movements that were used by the berserkers, even practicing Panzerkunst, they used a lot of techniques that are, not unique to Panzerkunst, but also found in other martial arts styles.
Well, it kind of makes sense. I mean, you're talking hundreds of years in the future. You're probably going to have a lot of martial arts maneuvers and things that have been sort of refined over the years.
Yep.
So when you're making a new one, you just pick and choose from the ones that are already there and, make a new one, which from what I understand is how a lot of the styles we have today came about. They basically come up with maybe a few new ones, but pick and choose from some other ones and combine them in a way that seems to be most effective for what they're looking for.
Yeah, that coupled with the fact that Panzerkunst is specifically designed for cyborgs.
Yes, that too.
We don't have too many cyborgs that are going to do it now. Like I remember someone asked Tilly in an interview whether she had if her arms had superhuman strength, and she said no. So, see, we don't have this yet. Now Alita, obviously, even in the doll body, she's got superhuman strength. I mean, she would just tear up a meat boy. Oh, I see Chaos is out there in the chat. So, Chaos, I sent you a link. So anyway, so I guess what that does is that brings us to this, I guess, these questions right here. And people in the chat can answer this as well. What do you think, Lee or Angelus? Do you think Alita's well trained?
Oh, she's highly trained.
Yeah.
I would even go so far as to say she might even be a bit of a prodigy when it comes to fighting.
Yes. What's your thoughts, Angelus?
Part of that prodigy, though, comes from Volume 10 spoiler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think she's actually a master myself,
Yeah, very possibly.
Yeah. So, and of course, being in the military like she was, she's probably disciplined as well, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least she's got one of the things that you could probably tell about her discipline would be when they were on the supply tube, and that that defense ring was coming down toward them. The average human, now the berserkers that were nearest the supply tube started running, which of course that the discipline there just fell apart. But the berserkers that were back in the back, behind Gelda and Alita, they didn't run, did they? They got in a prone position or a kneeling position, and they started firing at that defense ring, and they did not run. They kept firing and kept firing. And I dare say if that ring hadn't have broken, that would have probably overran all of them,
Yep.
And they would have still been trying to fire, But now in this case, of course, the defense ring was destroyed, But that takes extreme discipline right there. So I guess the question is, can Alita fight? Well, she defeated Gorishka 2 out of 3 times, didn't she? She removed.
That's just in the movie. That's also all the stuff she did in the manga.
Yeah, I mean Makaku. She beat Makaku. She beat that Sachimoto guy or whatever.
Yeah, in the most recent issue of the Last Order.
Yeah. Now she was in. There's Chaos. Hey, Chaos. Are you there, Chaos? I think you might be muted. So anyway, yeah, she beat Gorishka. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying hi.
Oh, okay.
For now.
Okay. Well, she did beat Gorishka 2 out of 3 times. Now, the last time she fought Gorishka, she was in her berserker body, and they both had weapons. Of course, Gorishka had a weapon, I guess. When he fought her, he had those grind cutters down in the underworld, She still damn near killed him there because there was that one thing where she pushed him against the wall, and that rock, big, huge boulder fell down in front of him. If that boulder would have been 1 foot back toward the wall, it would have crushed him probably.
Mm-hmm.
And she would have killed him, right there. But, as luck would have it, she didn't, it didn't kill him. But, she still managed to get her hand in his eye, didn't she? And that was in the doll body.
Yep.
The berserker body, Wishka didn't stand a chance. I mean, that fight was over within 10 seconds after her side healed.
Well, at least that wasn't unique to the movie.
Yeah, because she did that. She beat Makaku. She beat that Sachimoto guy or whatever his name was. She beat Toji. Now, she was in Imaginos body when she beat both of those last 2 guys, but still.
Even all that aside, just looking at the scrapyard or Iron City in the movie, actually it'd be the scrapyard in the manga. She had fights against some drug dealer who had some kind of concoction that turned him into a werewolf.
Oh yeah,
she
His
had
name's
a
McGill.
fight against she had a fight against some motorcycle gang and just basically casually defeated them.
Yes.
That's just some examples there.
Yeah, she was unarmed in the doll body, and Nisiana had those 2 blade weapons, and she still killed Nisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the guy in blue with the razor blade arms in the manga, he's Izuchi.
Oh yeah. She killed Romo. He had the.
And that's not even mentioning all the fights she got into in the motorball ring.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. I don't have any of that here. Exactly. Yeah, that was, I guess, Stinger and Mace and my second favorite Alita actress. Oh gosh, now my brain's not working. Screwhead.
That happens.
Screwhead. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, her name eludes me too. I mean, I've seen a
The
couple
one
of things she's
after
been in.
K.
I'm sorry.
The one after K. Hijk.
El Lamont.
El Lamont, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I guess
But,
screwed.
I was meant to imply L. Oh yeah, L Lamont.
Finn, she didn't actually defeat Joshigon. Joshigon actually defeated her.
And then died immediately
And then-
after.
And he put so much into it that the energy, it killed him. So even though he beat her, I mean, he died. So, I mean, I guess technically you could say he won, but you know, if you win and you die, I'm not sure that's a good thing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and she beat Zapan's butt twice. She beat him once in the doll body and once in the berserker body. Although in the berserker body, it wasn't much of a. She just took the sword away from him, cut his face off. So that's,
Yep.
yeah, that wasn't much of a fight, really. Well, the other one wasn't much of a fight either, was it? You know, just evaded the swing of the Damascus blade, and you know, basically, you know, put a palm strike on his nose and front kicked him into the jukebox.
Yep. So yeah, she can definitely fight.
Yes, she can. She is a good martial artist, I think. Because I mean, you know, to say you're a good martial artist and to say you're a good fighter is maybe two different things. In her case, they're both the same. She's not only a good martial artist, but she's a good fighter. You know, I mean, I've known guys in martial arts that they were good, you know, with techniques, and they were good in tournaments and stuff like that. And I can recall one guy, which I won't say his name, but he got into a fight into a biker bar and he got his butt whipped. So, you know, that wasn't a good thing for him anyway. So yeah, we did go over her discipline and you know, what she learned in military service. That's where she got a lot of the foundation, you know, for her ability to fight was in the military. Whether you consider the manga or the movie, you know, in the manga and the Mauser School, she learned a lot. In the movie, she was in the armed military and learned a lot. And of course, what she learned in both was Panzerkunst, which is a specifically optimal martial art for cyborgs. And of course, a lot of the fighting techniques, in addition to the specific Panzerkunst technique, she also knew a lot of the other techniques that are commonly used in other martial arts. So is Alita a good martial artist? Yes, she very much is a good martial artist. Now, you know what makes this all happen? This right here.
Yep.
Rosa, you know, took this really seriously. She, you know, she practiced for, what was it, Angelus? Was it 5 or 6 months, wasn't it?
It was 6 months from what I heard.
And she was dedicated to this. You know, I mean, she, you know, basically just got in. And she just, and there's that one thing at the end where she's fighting with a bow, which is awesome. You know, one of these days I see her again, I want to bring this up if she remembers much about this, because this, I think this was back in 2017, 2018, just before they shot the movie. So it's almost 10 years ago, you know. So, but anyway, here's the video. Now that's a key eye. You can see where she learned this for that tornado kick. So she spins in the air like that. Damn, girl, look at that. Jeez. Now this form right here is called the Southern Fist. And this is a Kung Fu form. Ground and pound. God, look at her. God damn. Jesus.
I think this is where she hits her instructor in the face.
No, it doesn't. I don't. Does it hit him in the face? It looks like it. Well, let's see.
Yeah, it might not be. Nope, it
But
did.
it did
It
break
broke
the
off
belt.
at the end, and that's where it bounced off his face.
Oh, okay.
She was talking about that in a couple of interviews.
Jeez.
She hit him hard enough, she broke her staff, and the broken end bounced off his face.
God almighty. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get her pissed at me.
Mm.
Yeah. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much all I got. Did we miss anything?
Nothing I can think of.
She was trained by real life martial artist
Yeah.
and daughter of Dan Inosanto.
Oh, really?
I forget it. Diana Lee Inosanto, I think her name was.
So Danny.
Like, I mean, obviously there was more than just the one trainer
Yeah.
involved in the whole process, but I think she was like one of the main or core trainers, and she also plays Morgan Elspeth in Mandalorian. Oh no, not Mandalorian, Ahsoka.
I'll be damned. So Danny Inosanto's daughter was one of her trainers.
Yep.
God dang, that is awesome.
I think the Inosanto name is
Okay.
with,
Yeah, I remember
Tempo,
him
isn't
from.
it?
I remember him from that. He was in that Bruce Lee movie. Yeah.
Yes, he was.
He's
Game of
Game
Death.
of
Game of
Death?
Death. That's it.
Yeah.
Game of Death. Yeah. He was
I
the
think
guy
it
who
was
was
like
nunchucks. Yeah. That
Yeah.
that part.
I mean,
So
by all means, Google it, but I'm like 99.99% certain
Yeah. Well,
that's
yeah.
the case.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of elite Army folks really think highly of Rosa for doing that. I mean, she took it serious, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Did we miss anything? Any final thoughts? You can see from that center panel there that Alita does love her Uncle Creek, and that is because he wants a sequel, just like Lee wants 8 sequels, and we all want 8 sequels. And, we come on, Disney, give us those sequels, damn it. We want it. So,
Chop, chop.
AKA, what do you got here? Barnett and Kansas Bar seen as a real life martial artist. Yes, you can tell by his speed when he ducks to avoid the table. Yeah, that's right. Well, he was, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was the stunt coordinator for the movie.
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
And the eye patch apparently is real. He actually lost an eye in real life.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Finn, we want more Alita
He's
stuff.
He's supposed to be Walsh, right?
That's who?
Like he's supposed to be Walsh, right? The bartender.
Yeah, the bartender.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, that's that, I guess. And then there's our queen, of course, and there she is posing for some photo shoots they did there at the old Vic. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I got a slide coming up on it, so we don't have to do it here. But our queen is awesome. I mean, she certainly was awesome in this play. I mean, God Almighty, I was mesmerized watching her. I mean, she's just really super. And of course, I want to give a shout out to El Lamont and Jesse Fisher because they brought Screwhead to life. And what I want to see in the sequel is I want to see Alita and Screwhead team up to take on Joshigon's team. That's going to be kind of cool because I think Elle said when we interviewed her, and that's been 4 years, but when we interviewed Elle, she said that, that Screwhead's kind of pissed off that she's been, I guess, conned or taken advantage of or something by Vector. And, she, is kind of mipped at the whole situation. She goes up to Alita and says, "Hey, I'm with you, girl. Let's just burn it all down." I love that shit.
Hey, just a reminder, this live stream, if you see the live stream and you like it, hit the thumbs up. They could use that.
Okay. Yeah. And of course, Jessie Fisher, according to Elle, is the most badass stunt woman that she's ever worked with. So, that's pretty high praise right there. So all three of these ladies deserve to be in that sequel, man. That's for sure. And we will get that sequel, guys. I have a lot of confidence in it. So anyway. And tomorrow we are going to not only wish Rosa a belated happy birthday, because I guess her birthday was last Thursday or yesterday, a week ago. We were there, we got to talk to her after the play and all that stuff and wished her happy birthday and all that. But of course, the next episode of Radio Chaos after that was a recording. So, I mean, it wasn't really a kind of a birthday thing here, but we're going to wish her a belated happy birthday here. And we're going to kind of go over, our experience. I guess Vladi will be on here, I guess. Smendrick may not make it. He might. I'll send him a link. But, our experience watching Rosa, play a character called Ricky Roma. And what was interesting about it, because I remember telling her this, that Ricky Roma in the movie was played by Al Pacino, and I told Rosa, I said, Al Pacino don't have anything on you. Because I mean, Rosa was really, really super, in the play, and, it was really just a real treat to watch her, do her craft because she is really good at what she does, and it would be a travesty for some reason they didn't do a sequel because Rosa certainly would nail it out of the. She would definitely, like as they would say in baseball vernacular, she'd hit a grand slam on that thing, or in cricket, she'd hit for 6, and, I mean, that, she deserves it. So let's keep pitching for it, folks. Oh, Vladi's birthday's coming up, huh? His Vladi's birthday may have already passed. I'll have to ask him. He did mention something about it when we were in London. Yeah, we're going to show pictures and stuff like that, not just of Rosa and us meeting her afterwards on her birthday, and I guess maybe some stills or something that they promoted the play with. But we'll just a couple of stills of the boys. We were there at there were 3 of us there, of course, Vladi, Smendrick, and I, and we went to a pub and.
So you could say the boys were back in town.
Yeah, the boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. I remember when I had mononucleosis way back in the day, I listened to that song when I was in bed. So anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, I've been busy with the smoke and the heat, so I'll do something else another week. I said I was going to do Terminator live, the Terminator video game live stream, but I'll do it later.
Okay. Well, I know I got your invite to collaborate some stuff, Chaos, but the last couple of weeks have been kind of rough for me. So
well, yeah. I mean, thankfully the fire smoke is mostly gone, but that was a big thing.
Yeah.
And the heat.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we were in London too, and we watched the soccer. the FIFA World Cup, you know, when we
Yeah.
that was that Argentina London Argentina England match was really good. But you know, after I saw Spain play, I said, "Oh man, Spain's going to be really hard to beat." After watching them, you know, and they, of course, I guess Argentina hung in there with them for a long time. But God, I remember watching that match and saying, "How is Spain not ahead 5-0?" Because that Argentina goalie, he was superb. He was blocking everything, man. So anyway, that's soccer. So join us tomorrow. We're going to talk. We're going to wish Rosa a belated happy birthday, and we're going to talk about the play she was in, and just, you know, our experience being in London and watching the play and all that kind of good stuff.
All right.
And if you want to join us afterwards for the Stammtisch, this is the after party. I just put the link in the chat. There it is. You click on it. Now, what'll happen is when you click on it, I won't bring you into the stream, you know, particularly, you know, if you're certainly worried that I might, don't worry about it, you know, because I'm not. I won't bring you in until after the stream is over. And then at that point, it's kind of like a Zoom call. You know, it's only us here on the channel are going to, you know, rather on the panel are going to talk to us, and you'll find out we're pretty friendly. You know, we don't bite, and at least we don't bite very hard. And we just have fun talking about Alita. Sometimes we do some cool stuff like show photos. We'll play videos, and you know, if Maxie was here, he and Lee would be talking about author stuff and you know, stuff like that. We just hang out. You know, it's not like a pre-programmed show or anything like that. You know, so if you want, click on that and you know, come talk to us. We'd love to have you. We are the Alita Army. We are advocates for Alita. We support Alita and Rosa Salazar passionately and positively. And we are here to stay, Disney. We're not getting rid of us ever. Even after you greenlight a sequel, we are still going to keep doing what we're doing. And until we get another movie after that, at the very least, we're going to continue to promote, you know, support Alita and promote Rosa and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
I understand, Batman. It was like no one really lives there, so there's not much you can do about that part. I mean, it's not like somebody who lets their grass grow up to the sky and doesn't clean up anything. They're like, that's a fire hazard that the person can manage. But if it's
Chaos, your mic. Chaos, your mic is open.
Oh, better? Yeah, I understand. Like, nobody lived in that area in the Northeast, so I heard all about it.
Well, anyway, they got wildfire up in Canada. We have a lot of that here in North.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Badman was mentioning it.
There's no one lives there, so you can't really manage it. That's the thing he's talking about.
Yeah.
How many wildfires we got here in Canada? I mean, in Colorado, Lee, is it like 14?
I'm only really familiar with the one that was real close by Pueblo, down south. But yeah, I imagine there's at least a few more. I just don't hear about them on the news, really.
Yeah, I know you go outside on certain days, it's kind of smoky, you know. So yeah.
I saw a part of a controlled burn going off the road when I was in Ohio. It was a little crazy. I was like, is this like an emergency? It's like, no, we're just doing a controlled burn. Move along.
But anyway, we're going to continue to support Alita and Rosa, and you know, we want that sequel. That's what we want. So, well, we lost Chaos. Oh, he said he's heading out. Okay, that's good. Why is this image here? Well, that image is there because I like it. And to paraphrase Gruwishka, I'm only here for our girl and our queen and the Alita Army. And that only leaves us with one thing left to do, and that'd be the call to action on my count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Baby. Okay, so we'll see you tomorrow on Radio Chaos for Rosa's belated birthday celebration and our experience watching Glenn Ross with Rosa doing a great job. And we will see you next week on not Radio Chaos, on the Alita Livestream. And I think next week's going to be a manga reading. So that'll be kind of cool. Because we never talk about the manga, do we, Lee?
No, not that I've ever heard of.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Yep.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.
No cause is lost, if there was but one fool left to fight for it.
Yeah, Gary, that'd be nice.